Welcome to TechNight, and our speaker tonight is Gary Adkins. I'm very pleased that he could join us. He is AARP Kentucky's volunteer president.
Yes.
Something like that, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And he has worked for the Commonwealth of Kentucky, retired in 2018, I'm sorry, 2018. He has worked for a variety of departments there. The last place he worked was the Department of Financial Institutions as a staff attorney in the Prosecution Assistance Unit. Okay. So, but before that, he actually was an assistant Commonwealth attorney for approximately 20 years. So he has a wealth of knowledge in this area, and I'm going to turn it over to him, and you will share all your information.
Okay, and before we can we go back to the to unshare, so that at least folks in the Zoom will be able to see me and see who I am.
They see you right there.
Oh, well,
there you are, right there.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Brooke. That's me.
I don't know why that happened. I keep talking.
I must have had a hiccup. I am a new president for AARP Kentucky. I live just across the county line in Madison County. Moved there in the fall of 2020 in the midst of the COVID epidemic. And I enjoy being very close to Fayette County so that I can get up here to Lexington. It's easier for me to get to Lexington than it is to get to Richmond. I was in the military for about 8 years. I went to high school up in Greenup County, went to university at Morehead State University, and first person in my family to graduate from high school and to go on to further their education. Went to law school at Louisville after I got out of the military, and my most enjoyable time of working has been as a felony prosecutor for the state. I prosecuted everything from theft, felony theft, everything was felonies, felony theft through capital murder cases. I had over 150 felony trials that I prosecuted in those 20 years or so, and I really enjoyed being in front of a jury. One of the things that is on the sign-in sheet that y'all went through is your name. I really do need to get your email address because AARP won't send me out and reimburse me for mileage unless I can verify that I've actually been out and talked to people, real live people. So I'd ask you to go ahead and put your email address on there. If there's any if you're already a member of AARP, you're not going to get any more emails. I don't expect. You might get a survey or something saying, wasn't useful to you, this presentation.
Mike will go ahead and share that with you all, the sign-in sheet.
Okay, and you can always opt out of emails if you want to. But Fraud Watch Network, that's what I'm here for today. AARP has the Fraud Watch Network, and we put on speaker bureaus about fraud and things along those lines because Ethel Percy Andrus, who was the founder of AARP, she was a teacher. And
sound went off.
Hello? Hello? I'm sorry to interrupt, but the speaker is muted.
We can't hear you.
Can you?
Okay, let's go.
I can hear you, Brookie.
Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yeah.
You're good.
Okay, we're good now.
everybody's good?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I have you some water here.
Good.
Okay.
So anyway, Ethel established AARP because she wanted something that was going to help folks that are 50 plus be able to live as they want to as they age, to empower us to do that. So that's why AARP is involved with Fraud Watch Network. Now the things, here we go, trying to get this going again. Okay. What we're going to be talking about tonight deals with trends and scams and fraud, the con artist playbook. There are the handouts in the back. That is the con artist playbook. We're going to talk about prevention and some resources
Gary, I have put it in the chat also for
for the folks that are Zoom.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
chat and they can download it.
Okay. So if you'll go, folks that are on the Zoom with us, if you go to the chat, you'll see the links for those two booklets that you can download. We're going to be talking about the trends and frauds and scams. I've got some information from the Attorney General's office about, this is from 2022, about the scams that were online, phone, or in person. And you can see the number of reports that the AG's office received and the amounts of the losses. Online, over $22 million, over $3 million for phone, and in person, over $2 million. This is not all it is, because all the scams that are done here in Kentucky, the AG's office doesn't get all of them because there's so many reporting places, because reports can be made to the AG's office, they can be made to the Kentucky State Police, to the city police in Lexington, in Louisville. They can be made to the FBI. It can be made to the Federal Trade Commission. So we don't have a good way of getting the total numbers for these type of things. But I read today that the online type of frauds for the United States is over $18 billion a year. So it's largely unreported. The top scams in Kentucky, according to the AG's office: business impersonation, identity theft, online purchases, arrest, warrant, sweepstakes, lottery, fraudulent collection agencies. And then top scams for dollar loss, investment scams, real estate, identity theft, romance, and lotteries, sweepstakes. The top scams that we have in the U.S. typically are identity theft, are imposter scams, and online shopping. What is identity theft? Anybody? Identity theft?
Stealing your information.
Stealing your information. And they want that information so that they can get money. That's right. And that's what they do. And they're trying to get information on you. What kind of information do they want? They want your social security number. They want your credit card numbers. They want your bank account numbers. They want your mother's maiden name. You know, all those type of questions that are asked when you're, doing your questions to verify who you are. What street did you live on when you were a kid? What high school did you go to? Those type of things. And where do they get that information from? You. Yeah. Some of it is dumpster diving, getting that information. but they're trying to get all that information. And a lot of times they get it from us because we willingly provide it to them, unknowing what they're going to use it for. But sometimes we provide that information. A scam that I learned about, I was down at the FBI headquarters in Louisville about a month or so ago, and there was folks that said that they would get a call from a company that said that they were calling to verify that these folks had made a charge on their bank account, on their credit card. Okay. And a fraud alert kind of thing. And they said, no, we didn't do that. But well, we're showing that you got that. And how do I know this is true? Because the number that is being called from is the number that's on the back of many credit cards. Okay. So they will tell you, you need to, I'm going to connect you with a representative from your bank. So you're put on hold. There may be some music or something. And then somebody will come on indicating they're from your bank and they want to verify your account. Give me your credit card number so we can verify this is you. Or your bank card, your debit card from your bank. And it's that kind of thing. And they're trying to get that information. Now, it's not legitimate, but it's a way of trying to get that information. So you got to be very, very careful. Another way that they get this stuff is by getting you to click on a link so that they can get access to information on your phone or on your computer with a Trojan horse or one of these other viruses that they can put on. Let me talk about imposter scams. That's the next thing. What is an imposter scam?
Somebody pretending to be somebody else.
That's right. And, it may be somebody from, that says that they're from the sheriff's office. I've got an arrest warrant for you because you didn't come to court when you were supposed to. Well, I didn't know I was supposed to come to court. Well, we can take care of this. All you got to do is go get some gift cards. I've got a flyer in the back about gift cards. And provide us with that number that's on the back so that we can take care of this. I've even heard about some of these scams where they will send a courier out to your house to come and pick it up. Person is dressed nice. I've been sent over by, whatever agency it is. Give me your money. The imposter scam, a big one, is grandparent scams. I had a neighbor across the street from me when I lived in Moorhead. He was a retired postmaster. He'd gotten a call from his grandson who had been in a car accident. There was a woman who was pregnant who was injured, had to be taken to the hospital, and he's under arrest. And he needed money to get out of jail. I'm going to have my lawyer give you a call. He got $1,000 from his bank and went to Western Union and wired it to this number. It ended up being a number in Canada. A day or two later, he got another call. There's been a headache with this, and we need, $500 more. He went to his bank, got the money out, went to Western Union, which is in Kroger's at Moorhead, and the folks there, we pretty well know everybody in town, and they said, Jim, something's wrong here. This is out of character. What are you doing? And he was reluctant, but he did tell them something about it. And they said, sounds like a scam. You need to go down, half a mile down US 60 way. and talk to the Kentucky State Police. And he did that. And of course, it was a scam because he ended up finding out that his grandson was not in this situation. Uh, he told me about it about a month or two later. Now, I'm a prosecutor and I lived across the street from him, but he didn't want to say anything when it had happened. I found out because I did some research on it, and at that time, it was early on when Western Union was the transit for this, and Western Union was helping to reimburse people for money they had lost. And he got money back. Western Union doesn't do that anymore because it's been so prevalent, but they stopped doing that. So these imposter scams are out there. They are, very, very lucrative for these folks. So you should be careful of that. Other scams, investment scams, lottery scams, tech support. This gentleman was a financial advisor, and he got taken for about $45,000 in an investment fraud. A lot of these investment frauds, they have a free lunch or a free dinner. I get postcards from places that offer, dinner at Malone's or one place or another. Some of these are legitimate investment companies or financial companies. Some of them are not. Some of them are fly by night. There's a lot of cold calls that are made. Anybody see also Wall Street movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? They have a big room. It's called a boiler room, and they will use that. And lots of folks in there making calls of numbers who are prospective investors. Usually they're folks that have been taken advantage of before, because if you have fallen for a scam, you're more likely to be sucked into another scam. There's lots of act now pressure that's put on you in those type of situations. It's very bad. I prosecuted a case where there was a couple with gas well frauds out of McGoffin County here in Kentucky. They had sold gas wells to folks in out-of-state investors. They took investors for about $7.5 million on holes in the ground. But they ended up being prosecuted. Lottery scams. If you don't play the lottery, don't expect to win the lottery. Why that? Don't fall for that because it's too good to be true.
It's too good to be true.
Yeah, and it's too good to be true. With a lot of these things, you have to pay taxes and processing fees up front. Don't fall for those. Tech support, and this is a group that would be a good group to not fall for a tech support scam. But you get a call from a company that says, "Hey, you got a problem with your Windows, or there's a virus on your computer." How they know those things, I have no idea. But if there's a pop-up window or something that will alert you, and if you click on it, you're hit, you're infected. Unless you got some good antivirus system, sometimes it's too late, and you have to get your computer purged and set up again. You all know about that, right? Okay. Con artist playbook, and like I said, I've got these in the back on that table where that swag is, and it's online in the chat so that folks can download this. We use this. We put these brochures out, and please take one when you're here. We get this information from recordings that have been made of controlled calls from the scammers So, and actually, we get this information also from folks that have been prosecuted and have talked with law enforcement about how they do this stuff. When I was working at the DFI in Frankfurt, we worked closely with the U.S. Postal Service, and we had a gentleman who rolled on his books that he worked with, and he would give us all kinds of information. If we heard about a new scam that was going around, people doing something, we would talk to him to see if he knew about these folks and what he did know. So I'm going to play some things here, if this will work for me. Well, it looks like it's not playing.
How about the mouse?
You get the mouse.
Where do we want to go? Oh, we've got to stop sharing.
Oh, stop sharing there.
And then we're going to start again. And we have to do
Share sound. See if
we've got both a split screen here. Let's go to
If you don't want to make up your mind right now, that's where I come in. I will make up your mind for you.
Anyway, I said I would not call unless it was rare and
how are you now? You're good?
If you don't want to make up your mind right now, that's where I come in. I
It's
will
playing,
make
but
up your
it's
mind
not.
for you.
We don't have any sound.
I said I would not call
Okay.
unless it was rare.
Obviously, that. So let me.
If you don't want to make up your mind right now, that's
That's it.
where I
If
come
you
in. I will
if you don't
make
want
up
to
your
make up
mind
your
for you.
mind right now, that's where I come
I
in.
would not call unless it was
I said if
rare
I
and definitely
call unless it's a
undervalued
rare and
situation.
definitely undervalued situation.
$2.5 gold
Familiar with the
This is enough
gold
money
pieces, enough money for you to go to your grave knowing
knowing
you did the right
that
thing.
you went and did the right thing, and you can go and meet God.
Go and meet God with a
Clear
clear conscience. What do you want
Now,
to do?
what do you want to do?
Are you stupid?
Are you stupid? I'm not trying to insult you, but are you mentally ill? Something wrong with you? There's something physically wrong with you? Are you retarded? Overage? Do you forget things? Is there something wrong with you? I don't want to pick up the effing phone. Who the F are you talking on the phone? Hang up the phone. Don't dial. I'm calling you. When you come over there and set your home on fire. You'll never ever be anything. You're going to be a grave loser. Big loser. I think you're terrible.
I think you're terrible.
Those things happen. Now, these are snippets of conversations that were recorded. With these recordings, when they're talking to you, they're nice at the front. At the back end, when you're not giving any more money to them, that's when they get nasty. You know, I don't care where you get the money from. You know, borrow the money, steal the money. Okay? This is Jimmy, who's a con artist from New York, and he was a gentleman, I'll use that term, who rolled on folks that he was working with, cooperated with the government, and we've got some snippets from
These are
that aren't. Here is a I'm a dangerous person if I choose to be fraudulent in my practice. There's nothing that's going to stop me. What they want to do is to get you under the ether. And the ether is a heightened emotional state. Learning says
crush or the kill.
the kill is emotionally driven. It's not based in logic. If you apply logic, you're not going to send that hard-earned money. But if he wraps it up in emotion, it starts to blur. Logic goes out the window. I'm no stranger. I'm Jim from New York. Okay. These are the persuasion tactics that are used by these scammers. We'll talk about each of them. Phantom riches. It is to let you know that there's riches out there for you. All you got to do is accept the offer, pay the money, and you're going to make money. 25,000 cold hard cash. Somehow that they were going to do this lottery instead of buying, like one lottery ticket. You could have 4,800 tickets, 4,800 chances to win. Of course, that's not for the cost of one lottery ticket. You're paying much more money than that. But it gives you the impression that you're going to have a better chance of winning. Profiling. Profiling, they're trying to get information so that they can pick you. So they can pick their hand in your pocket. Like this, I'm sure this is probably like a romance scam. If you don't mind me asking, how long has your husband been deceased? It sounds like you have a wonderful house. You have mortgage. How much is it? To get an idea of whether to continue that, because if it's a good mortgage, they must have money. But they're trying to get information. Scarcity. We've only got 4 of these items left on this offer. You got to make a decision now, or you're going to miss out. Or there's only 24 hours before it expires. You got to act. You got to do this. You got to do it quick. Source credibility. In this situation, I give an example. It's on the screen. An example could be, don't you want to invest in this? Brooke has invested in this. You like Brooke. She has credibility with you. So why don't you invest in this? We've seen it with ministers, using ministers. We've seen it using politicians, a mayor, a congressperson, a senator, somebody in your community that is wealthy. They've invested in this. Aren't you going to do this? When I was working as a prosecutor, at Department of Financial Institutions, I would go to prosecutors' conferences and talk to prosecutors about securities fraud. And I had a Commonwealth's attorney from down in the southeast Kentucky. And I was talking about gas wells, gas and oil. And she said that she and her husband had invested in some gas wells down there. And I said, well, that's nice. When did you invest in them? And it had been about 6 or 7 years before. I said, okay. And how much money have you made on that investment? Oh, we haven't made anything. I said, well, why haven't you made any money on it yet? Well, it's still, they're still drilling, or they're still working on the well. If they're going to drill a well, it doesn't take years to get a well unless they're drilling to China. I said, well, if you like, our office can take a look at your investment and give you an opinion about whether it looks like a legitimate investment or, you've been scammed. And she said, I don't need to do that because our friends who invest in gas and oil wells, they've invested in this. And Since they have, we did. Source credibility. Fear and intimidation. That's the last one. Once they get a hold of somebody, they want money from them, and they're not going to let go. Go find the money. I don't care if you have to steal the money. Get the money. One of those blurbs from earlier, you want me to come over there and break your knee? Fear and intimidation. So I'm going to skip these the practice stuff because it asks for a persuasion tactic.
Now, John, back in
Following is
well, you can talk about the miracle shim. The miracle shim is one.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you that I have never seen anything that we have ever offered here on the Smart Shopping Network.
Okay, and on QVC they have the information at the screen that shows how many units they have,
and if you have a chair
how many orders they've taken.
That's a little tipsy, and I bet a lot of you do. There is no better product you can find.
That's not showing up there, but I'm talking about the laser.
Look at this.
How much time you have left in order to do this? This is the miracle shim. It's that shim is used in Buckingham Palace, Taj Mahal.
Problem is solved.
All kinds of
something
places.
you need just about every day.
Cedar, pine, oak, hickory. You can't get this anyplace else other than there, and it's like $49, $90 in order to buy the miracle shim. As this ad is going on, and you can see the orders continuing to climb up.
Went with her all the time. He had a bag full of shims.
Some of these
true story.
Types of shims are going to go out of stock because
you
they've been
cannot
sold.
Find Miracle Shim in the stores. You just can't. They're not available in stores.
I think this is one that was prepared by AARP to show an example of scarcity.
You're not going to be here long
of
either,
scarcity.
But if you were lucky enough,
like I said,
to
QVC and some of those other shows, they do the same thing. They show how many orders have been taken. You've got a time that you have to make this order to call in. It's the same sort of thing.
Ladies,
you can't find them in stores. Everybody needs one. Some prevention strategies. Don't make your financial decisions if you're under the ether, a heightened emotional state. Do your research. For charities, there is a website that you can go to see how much money that you actually make to a donation to a charity actually goes to the charity.
Oh, that's
Some of the companies, they may get 95% of the money that's donated. Some of them may only get 10%. The rest, the 90%, may go to whoever's raising the money, making those calls. Brokers, financial advisors like that. There's a broker check through FINRA. Anybody who is a broker in Kentucky, they have to be registered with the state in Frankfurt, and they have to be registered with FINRA through the federal. Screen your calls, watch out for fake emails and text messages, develop a refusal script. Sometimes if I don't recognize a phone number, I will answer the phone and say, Sheriff's Office, Fraud Division. Sometimes it's complete silence and a hang up. Sometimes folks will say, I'm trying to get in touch with Gary Adkins. AARP, I've been doing fraud stuff with AARP for the last 4 or 5 years. And the folks in Louisville, where our headquarters is, state office, typically they will call me if they're going to have somebody call me to let me know. And I got a call last year, and I didn't know the number. And it was from the Louisville area, 502 number. And I answered it like that. and the gentleman on the other line said, I'm trying to get in touch with Gary Adkins. Well, I think he's here. What is this about? And he said, well, I'm from the Courier Journal, and the communications director asked me to call Gary. And I said, well, that's me. And we had a nice conversation. I explained to him why I did what I did. And he said that he might do that himself. But you need to have a refusal script. Some way. It can be as simple as just hanging up.
Mm-hmm. That's the one I like.
Protect your personal information. Shred your sensitive information. We have shredding events here in the Lexington area. Usually it's in like September time frame over at the North YMCA. It's in conjunction with a health fair that we do over there. And what I've talked to our state director is to try to get some advertisements out before it with a QR code or something so that folks can register for it. There's other states that do it that way. And that way, they schedule a time for you to come in and do your shredding. We have Wildcat Shredding or some other company. You bring your shredding material. It goes into a big trash bin, and they walk it over to the dumpster, to the shredder. And if you want to watch it being shredded, you can do that if you have concern about that. But it goes in there and it gets shredded. Monitor your bills and your financial accounts. You can put a fraud alert on your credit report. You can watch over your credit reports. You can get annual copies of your credit reports by asking those credit reporting companies for a copy of it. You can get one a year from each of the credit reporting companies, and it doesn't cost you anything. Keep your operating and antivirus software current. You all know that already, right? And keep your passwords private. Don't share those passwords. Try to use a unique password for each online account. Of course, if your password is like 12 or 13 digits long, sometimes that's a little hard to remember. Consider using a password manager that can help to save those passwords for you. You shouldn't write their passwords down. Put it on a piece of paper and stick it somewhere close to your computer. I know when I was working with Kentucky State Police and the FBI, they really loved it when they were going to execute a search warrant and seizing computers because they would look for things like that. You can protect yourself. We have the Fraud Watch Network with AARP. You can get free help online, or you can, if you suspect a scam, you can sign up for Watchdog Alerts. The Attorney General's office also has a scam alert that they can contact you about scams that are in the area. My understanding is that folks that call our number at AARP, they typically spend about 20 to 30 minutes online with somebody to get information and to try to refer them to the best place they can for assistance. We don't do investigations, but we try to link you up with the appropriate folks to do investigations. The FBI, the Federal Trade Commission, the Kentucky State Police, they have a white collar crime area for the eastern part of the state and the western part of the state. Some of the local law enforcement agencies also have the ability to do these type of cases. Here in Lexington, there is a white collar crime division that I've worked with on security fraud. There's also one in the Jefferson County that does the same thing. We've got lots of romance scams that happen, and the FBI is in the process of getting some, and I've not talked with them about how they're doing this, but they are having they're able to identify and try to alert people. We think that you may be a victim or a potential victim of a romance scam, and to try to warn them. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't. Information I got from the Attorney General's office showed reports for Fayette County that in 2022, there was 193 people that reported scams from Fayette County. It took those people for $1 million. $1 million.
Who do you report it to?
You can report it to the FBI. You can report it to the Federal Trade Commission. You can report it to, here in Fayette County, you can report it to Metro, the police agency.
The police.
The problem is that if you've been scammed, odds are it's going to be very, very difficult or impossible to get any money back. Unfortunately, the benefit of reporting it is that, one, there's a track of it, and two, you potentially are doing something that could prevent somebody else in the neighborhood or in your city or the state from being scammed also. Now, there was a case that the Attorney General's office had last year, in 2023, where somebody contacted the AG's office to report. And what had happened is they were asked to send money, cash, to California by registered mail. And what they were asked to do was to take a book, a magazine, and put these $100 bills between the pages, and put it in a package, seal it up, and send it. Now the person thought, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. And what they did is they reported it to the AG's office. And because it was going through the mail, it's not like wiring something. It wasn't, because if you do a wire transfer for Western Union, it goes. This was U.S. mail. It takes a while to get from Kentucky to California. Okay. And she had the information about the registration number for that package. So the AG's office was able to get in touch with U.S. Postal Service. Postal inspectors were able to track that and had folks in California to intercept that and intercept the people who were getting it. Okay. So that person was able to get their money back. But, it's rare. And unfortunately, we don't have, I said that this is all underreported. I prosecuted a lot of child sexual abuse, lots of sexual assaults, rapes, and that sort of thing. And those are underreported. And why? Because folks are embarrassed to come forward and say, I've been attacked. This has happened to me. These scams are the same way. Folks are embarrassed to report that they have been scammed. And especially seniors, because seniors a lot of times think that if I report this, my family is going to try to take my financial independence away. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't get reported. Some prosecutors or police may think that if you're a senior, that you're not going to make a good witness because you gave that money to somebody else. But I can tell you, seniors make great witnesses. I had an 86-year-old woman who had been raped and sodomized, and she reported it. We arrested the guy the same night because he tried to kill her, and she was able to convince him that they could be secret lovers. He was about 16, lived across the street from her, and he'd broken into the house. She was able to convince him they could be secret lovers, and she promised that she would not call and report the police or do anything like that. But you know what she did? She called the police, and I thankfully she called the police before she called her sons, because I think if she called her sons, that boy would not be living. But the police came, got her taken care of. She was sent to the hospital. Her sons arrived. They didn't go next to her because the police were there. The police took the boy into custody, and because he was a minor, a juvenile, he was very open with the police and said, "Oh yeah, I did this. Oh yeah," and he admitted everything, which was nice. So we had those admissions that he had, and the boy's mother and his grandmother would not let him plead guilty until we were at trial. And at trial, the defense attorney would not allow his mother and his grandmother to be in the room when we were negotiating plea. Because she was 86, during the preliminary hearing that was in district court, we took her testimony. That preserved her testimony. The defendant had an opportunity to cross-examine her about what she said. And she went through what all he did to her. It was uncontested by the defense. So if something had happened to her between that and the trial, we would have been able to play that for the jury. She was at trial. She was ready to testify. He pled guilty. He went to a juvenile holding facility down in Ohio County after he pled guilty. And then while he was there, he assaulted a nurse because of his hormones, he said. It's a guy thing. And we brought him back to up in the Round County area, Mount Sterling area, and we had a hearing. We took testimony from the folks from that juvenile facility. He was 17 at the time, and the judge went ahead and made a determination that once he had reached 18, he was going to go on to the adult prison. And so he went on to the adult prison at that point. Months. Yeah, hormones. Yeah, you know how they are. Anyway, we ask that you share this information that you've learned with your friends. We hope that this will help to protect your friends, your family, and you. Research has shown that if you have attended one of these type of trainings, informations, that you're probably 80% less likely to be scammed. If you start to fall into it, you're again 80% more likely not to tender any money to anybody. So it's very beneficial. The key thing is if you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam.
How do you recognize a fake email? It's like if PayPal sends me something that I've charged $500, and I don't look at that email. You sent it, and it's XYZ, all kinds of weird.
Yeah,
that's a first.
One of the things that you can do with email is that you can put your cursor over the email and see what it is. If it doesn't look legit, It's probably not. If you take a look at the text that you have, sometimes there's a lot of grammatical errors. It just depends. In my job with AARP, I got a new Apple iPhone. I'm trying to learn this thing.
Each class is on there.
I'm trying to learn this thing, and I don't know where my messages exactly where my messages are here, but I know that I didn't delete it because I wanted to hang on to it. Maybe I got one on here, but it was one of these that said it was either UPS
We've got one.
or
UPS.
yeah, I think it was the postal system, and it said, we've got this package that's for you, but there's a problem with the address. Well, if it's a problem with the address, how do they know it's me? And they asked me to click on this but it's obviously a scam. But there's folks that would click on that because they think it's one of these imposter scams. But it's just a matter of if you're savvy. I don't think you have a problem with that, but we've got a lot of folks that are not computer literate, or just click on whatever is put in front of them.
Another thing you can do there is when I get something from Chase occasionally, which is my bank. And so, without thinking, I'll open it up. It'll ask me a stupid question. But if you look up at the top, it says where it's going. If you respond to it, it'll tell you where that message is going to.
Yep.
It might say e-Chase or are you Chase, but it's not Chase.
Right.
So look at that if you did open it up.
Well, everything you have to do is hover over it with your cursor, and it will show that. Same with the email address.
I had a PayPal email that came in, it looked legitimate.
It does.
Yes, I mean, there was no typos, there was no anything.
It had the same logo,
The logo and everything, but it was like it was another company, but it was it was PayPal processing it. So I was just really surprised how good it was.
I called PayPal at that point and asked, is there a problem with my account? And they said, no. And I told her what I received, and she said, look up at the top from whom it came. And if it was all kinds of strange characters, word that doesn't make sense. So
yeah, I just recently got a text from Spectrum that said, we've got a deal for you. Where your monthly fee would be $99 or $98 or something, and I called the number because I was curious, and they told me about this. Said, we'll pay your bill that is coming due on the 8th of this month of February of $159. Because I have phone and cable and stuff, but you have to pay 6 months in advance of $98 and change. So they went ahead and paid that, and to my account, and they had my account number and stuff, and I disconnected because I thought, I need to check this out. If you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam. So, I disconnected. A few days later, I got a message from Spectrum that said that payment had not been honored. So I still owed that money. Okay. So I stopped up at Hamburg and got adjustment on my glasses at VisionWorks. And 2 doors or 3 doors down is Spectrum. So I went in there and I said, hey, told them what had happened, and I said, is this legit? Do you have that deal? And they said, well, we've not heard anything about that. So she talked to me about, what they could do, and really there wasn't anything they could do. Yeah. So
There's a new one out on Amazon. If you're an Amazon Prime and you order something with Amazon, they send you a postcard with what you ordered on it and their logo. And it says, if you click on this, we'll send you a $15 gift card to Amazon. And I said, boy, that looks pretty good. I mean, the logo looked right. And I said, let me ask my son. So I called him. He said, Mom, Amazon will never, ever contact you in anything but your Amazon account. He said, so never believe anything you get in the mail.
Yeah.
This was a postcard.
We've got both got.
I got it too.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things that, hold your phone up to it. And but they knew what we had bought.
They knew what we bought. They had a picture of what we bought.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, that's what.
That is scary.
That's scary.
Yeah.
What about the ones that I get calls all the time saying, we want to buy your house?
Yeah, we do.
yeah,
Yeah.
sell your house. There is a
$1 million, right?
Oh, I go for 10.
Over 10.
there is a bill before the legislature right now for fraudulent transactions involving land, because there's some companies out there that are making those offers. We can sell your house for you.
Mm-hmm.
You need to sign this contract, and whether most of the time they don't sell the house, but they still got the contract. And in the fine print of the contract, it basically says that they can, if the property is sold at any time, they get 3% of the sale. Okay. And so, you sign this contract with them. It doesn't sell in what the time they expected. And then later on, you decide to sell the property and it sells, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever later, they come in and say, we're entitled to 3% of that from, instead of the real estate companies or the realtors that are, working. Yeah. So there's a bill that's before the House. I think it's before the House right now, to address that and to make that illegal. Yeah.
I have a question. If you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
How would someone evaluate the online banking and the controls that the financial institution has in place to protect their accounts? How would they evaluate it from a customer standpoint? Say I'm a customer, I'm going to say a bank or a credit union. I want to do online banking. What do I look for to protect my assets?
Well, I'm not sure. I've not been asked that question before, because it's
always on the customer losing the money. It's never gone the other way.
Mine has like double verification. I can log in, but then they have to send me a code on my cell phone, and then I have to put that code in to verify it's me. So
do that.
I mean, a lot of places are doing the double verification.
Right. James' iPad is a little loud. Oh. Anyway, I'm not sure, but I know that with some of the credit card things with the banks, if you report a fraud and for credit cards, the bank can credit you on those. With debit cards, it's up to the bank about whether they want to credit your account or not. and it kind of depends upon your relationship with the bank. I bank with Whitaker Bank, have for years out of Moorhead, and now, well, I'm still, I guess my bank is still Moorhead, but years ago I was up in Greenup County on 64. I stopped in Grayson and had used my debit card to get some food at Wendy's drive-through, which I probably shouldn't have done. The next day I was in Ashland area and tried to use my card and it wouldn't work. I called the bank and I got a fraud alert, and called my bank and talked to them, and it was near time for them to close on that Saturday. But I guess it helped being a felony prosecutor for the state, and they knew who I was, and I was a lawyer in Moorhead. So we stopped our trip and visiting family up in Greenup County, came back to Moorhead, met with one of the vice presidents of the bank, and she pulled up the information, called the folks with their whoever it was in above them, and found out that this was a charge that had been made at the Miami airport for a flight to go to Venezuela at the Miami airport. And the flight was going to leave in about 2 or 3 hours from where we were at that time. She contacted the airline down there and got in touch with the folks at the ticket, when you check in and stuff, and told them that this was a fraudulent charge, that it was not going to be honored. And they said, we can't do anything. We can't do anything. It's a ticket. We issued the ticket. We can't do anything. Well, it's not going to be honored. And apparently the person, went ahead and flew to Venezuela, but the airline didn't get money for it. And what my bank did was they canceled my card, issued another card, which I got, about a week or so later, and they credited my account for that. So it kind of depends on your bank, really.
Well, and some companies are even better than you think they'd be. I was in Charleston, South Carolina, coming out of a Sam's Club. I just bought my grandson some diapers. My phone's ringing. My husband said, "Why did you just buy diapers at Sam's Club?" He was in Lexington. Discover had called him because he'd went and bought gas, and we're on the same card.
Yep.
And they called him and said, "Someone's using your card at Sam's Club in Charleston." I think that's my wife.
Yeah.
So, that was nice to know, but I thought I can't get away with anything.
Well, yeah, that's probably true. That's the way it is. When I was in the Army, I did a lot of mail order with Sears. We do our shopping. It'd be sent to Germany, and so then we come back to the States. And I was living in Louisville, outside of Louisville, and I was getting ready to take the bar exam, and they do an investigation on you. And I'd gotten a call from the bar examiners, about this credit issue that I had because I had not paid my account at Sears, and it was in arrears. And I was like, well, I have no idea what they're talking about. So I contacted Sears, and they were very 19th century the way they did account, because my account that I had with Sears, same credit card number that I had in Germany, I had in Louisville, but it went to a different regional area. And what had happened was, somebody named Gary Adkins in Barboursville, West Virginia, had bought something and apparently hadn't been paying. And somehow our accounts had crossed, and payments that I was making because I bought a battery. I was paying their account and my account too. So it took a while for them to straighten that out, but you know, it wasn't fraudulent, but it's
negligent.
yeah. But you know, you all have that, you see that all the time, whether it's how they do it. You know, Lexington had some wire fraud done when somebody contacted them to said they were a vendor, and the vendor was due some money, and they changed accounts, and Lexington wired money to this new account. Yeah, and it was like 200,000 or more. They were able to get the money back, but they had to go through this rigmarole to do it. But it's a matter of checking. You know, if you get a call or a message or an email, you know, I've seen the same thing happen with lawyers who had money in their trust account and they've been asked to send it to somebody else, or money in a financial advisor's account, and they've been asked to fax money or wire money to somebody. Yeah, it happens. It's fraud. But, yeah, hopefully those folks are insured. If you can't get your money back, that they will have to reimburse that.
My credit card company sends me on my phone every charge that goes through that credit card. I see it, right?
Yeah, you can.
The minute
you can have a report. You can have notifications like that. I've got that with.
A couple things going.
I've got that with PNC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime a charge is more than some dollar value, and I put it low.
Your credit card company or your bank?
That's my credit card company. Yeah.
I've seen I think it just helps to keep hearing these different stories and the way that the scammers are thinking, so that you can be alert. So when it happens, I had somebody send me something saying, "Oh, iPhone said that you're out of storage and that they were going to delete everything on your phone in 2 minutes if you don't do something." You know, and these are two very intelligent people that, you know, had contacted me. I said, whenever anybody says
hurry up.
Yeah, hurry up and do something, you know, it's a scam. And then the second thing is, you know, Apple's not going to delete everything in your phone just because you ran out of storage. That's a common sense thing. So
they would sell you more.
Yeah.
They're ready to sell you more. Yeah.
Yes.